Okay, I am just going to try to do a quick video and just show um, this watch and how I set it. I know there's been some issues with people, understandably, with the movement, namely not so much the movement as it is with specifically with the crown issue with these watches. This is the Serica 5303, specifically the -1. This is the black. -2 is the silver, or which looks like white, but it's considered a silver dial. And the latest one, which has a light blue bezel and a dark blue dial, is the 5303-1. So, I mean, sorry, -3, because that's the third one. And yeah, but they all seem to have this crown issue still. And first off, I'm not making excuses for Serica or anything. You know, I do believe they should have probably addressed it way back and just decided to cut their losses and ditch the Soprod movement, the Newton movement that's in here, and just go with a Sellita or Etta or something that is just known to be, just works and should not have what issue there is with the crown. I'm not going to show the problem with it. At least I'm going to try not to. I'm going to show why, because I got this within like the first batch or batches, I guess, late 2021. So it's been over a year and I still have it. And it's one of my favorite watches. And it runs really great, actually. The movement is quite accurate. And yeah, barely a second or two deviation per day. It's been doing quite good all this time. And so this is what I do to set my watches. And I'm going to use my G-Shock over here because this should be always accurate. I'm about to do a watch rotation anyways. I've been on my Zodiac Super Sea Wolf. I can't remember the number. The reference number is Z09. 9236. I forget. Anyways, I've done videos on this, so look it up. But yeah, it's been great. And actually, the colorway of that new Serica kind of looks like this because it's light blue with a dark blue dial. And it just so happens I got this after that came out, and I just realized, wait a minute, that was kind of like what they just did with this. But and I would debated getting that one, but I was like, why do I need another one, right? Just for the new color or trading it up. And luckily, I eventually decided to get this. I had another Zodiac before, and I really like this one. Actually, originally I was going to pick this one up, and then I bought the skin blue, which you might see in my previous videos, but I sold that, and then eventually I came back and decided to actually go with this one after all. Anyways, back to this. So when I started up and pulled it out of the watch box, it's running because I've been shaking it around, no big deal. There is a little thing that you have to do with the crown, at least I do, is that it doesn't usually completely pop off when I unscrew it. So I can feel it's basically there. It's all the way out, but then I usually do a forward twist, and you'll feel it actually kind of, I think it will pop out again. Actually, this time it did it. You never know sometimes, but if it doesn't feel like it's gone out all the way, I will rotate the other way, and then you'll feel it kind of pop out just a little bit more. Then it's in a position that it's. You can hear that hand winding. So I'll give this a good wind. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I like to fully wind it up as much as I can. You can't really overwind these things. At least I've been told. Never had any issues. At least 30, 40 times. Depending on the power reserve. If it's real high, like a 6R35, that's 70-hour power reserve or something like that, then it'll probably take at least 70 turns or so, I think, or at least some manual winds that have a high power reserve will go there. But anyways, that should be good. So what I usually do is, as I'm approaching that time, I will test out pull it out and see if it hacks. Then give it a little play. Oh, see, it does move a little bit, but I do is just keep pressure on it. Okay, and then let's see, the time is 9:40. It's going on to 7:45 soon. So, and luckily there's no date, so there's no AM PM. So I just keep some steady pressure as I'm pulling it, just to make sure that the hand stays and get the second stays hacked. But let me get it to 0 in right about there. So long as I keep, as I'm twisting it, there's a little bit of a tension. I'm pulling it, but nothing too hard, just to keep it hacked, to try to be sure of that. And I believe for this watch, I usually keep notes on how to set my watch, so I make sure that they're accurate. And I think this one might need a slight back play. Oops. There we go. But that's all right. It's not too far off. And it's already 45, so I'm going to go 46. And I think I gotta check my notes. Hang on a second. Okay, so my notes tell me that I need to do a little bit of an advance. I mean, don't back set it, I guess. This one I should, I believe, go up maybe about half a minute, and then just kind of rotate it back until it's at the mark that it should be at. So right now it's going on 7:51, so that's what I'm going to try to do. Here, 7:51. And then I'm going to probably just test it right about there. So every watch has a little bit of weird quirks to setting it exactly to the minute, and I like to do that. I don't like when it's off. That's just me. So I make notes and write them down for each watch, so that I know when the time comes time to set it, it should be exactly where I want it to mark. So I was setting it to this 9, 10, and this should be always accurate because it's radio as well as Bluetooth enabled for, just upkeeping the time to make sure it's always on exactly. So as I was saying, there's certain points, so this should be right in the halfway mark, which it looks like it is. And I'm just going to let it go all the way up. So we see at the top of the minute, if it's pointing exactly at 7:52. And it looks good. Then I'll I usually will try to, as a habit, I try to backplay it till I feel that indent, right, where the teeth or the threads kind of get into place with the crown. The thread on the tube, kind of lines up with the crown when you, just so I don't make sure I cross thread it, and just lock it down. And that's basically it, all the way down. You don't have to crank it like super tight. It's tight enough. It's not going to undo itself. So that's basically it. So I'm just going to check it one more time, make sure it didn't somehow shift. But from what I can tell, it looks good. It should be on 53. Mash this up, sort of. 7, 8, 9, mark. and that looks close enough to me. So that's it. So it's not, there's all this, a lot. I know some people get pissed off when they got their watch and it still has an issue, and some people that, even from before, I think they sent it out for repair, I think it still basically had the same thing. And I get it. It's kind of annoying. The crown is a major area that you can, for tactile experience with your watch, next to a bracelet or the clasp especially. You want an bezel action. These are things that you interact with, and you want it to feel good and solid and work, the way it normally should. I don't buy that if they're saying that this is a feature, that weird quirk where the hands can jump and not, really, it's difficult for it to hack and stay hacked. Yeah, I won't comment more on that, but yeah, that's just, I don't know. There's something I think they should have fixed, and I don't know why. I bet you they have a surplus of these Soprod movements. They probably made a deal or something and got all these Newton movements, and they probably just need to use them up. And I get it. I think if they eventually do, they should really consider, unless they can get that movement, make sure that's the issue is truly fixed. They should probably consider swapping it to an Edo or Sellita, and and there should be no issues at all with those. But anyways, going back to time setting on this, that's how I've been dealing with it. I know how the quirks of it. Just like anybody else, I think if you have a watch, there's certain things about it that may not perform perfectly, or there's some tricks, or I don't want to call them hacks, but that you can just basically work around or with, however you want to think about it, and make it function normally. Like the Oris, was it the Caliber 400, their new in-house movement that they had first released way back. Well, it's been a couple years now. It had that issue with it also had some weird time setting issues. Not quite like this, but then you had to do this thing to, I think you did need to backplay it, and then it would actually set without getting all out of whack or something. And I think since then they have fixed it. So, but that was, that's an example of something like, well, other than that, the movement's pretty good, right? And people like to watch, and they like the idea of having that new in-house movement made by Oris. So, they either stick with it or they pass it on and say they can't deal with it. Same with this, I guess. I've been able to, again, this was part of the first batch or batches that were initially released. I jumped on this pretty early on when they first had the order for these to come out, mid 2021, or is it early? I forget, but it took quite a bit of time, at least 3, maybe 5 months or something. It was delayed slightly, and then finally I got it in, I think, November or December of 2021, when everybody else started getting theirs. I know I put my order in pretty quick too, and so yeah. And yeah, at first it was disappointing, and I was like, man, of course, at least a sour taste or sour experience. Otherwise, pretty cool and fairly, for me, a perfect watch. I mean, the size and just the way it's done, and for a very classic looking dive watch, yet it's completely original too, but you just feel like there's something familiar about it. That's not easy to do in this huge landscape of so many of these micro brands, and even the mainstream brands coming out with stuff that it stands out, and this certainly does. Yeah, so that's how I've been living with it. Just I know the quirks of it, and I know how to deal with it, and you can see it's, I know I've been talking for a bit, but it's not that big a deal. And we're going to check it again. It should be holding accuracy. This is going to be tricky to tell, but usually, like, how do you tell on that 12 o'clock index, right? Usually on the those two dots to the left is 1 of the minutes, and to the right of that side is like, so for instance, there's 1, 2, and then 3 would be where it's pointing at. See right there on that side. So that'd be rather 8. right? This 56, 7, 8. And then on that side of that dot right there, that would be 59. And then right down the middle, obviously, will be at the top of the hour. And that's how you work with those dots up there. Because I'll show you, if this comes around again to the top of the minute, that pointer should be right to exactly on the side of that dot. And that's how you know that's the, I guess in that case, the 59-minute mark. So, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, of course, I wish didn't have this, but I like so much of this more that I'm willing to kind of go past it. And I did, was an early adopter. I put the time into waiting for it and all that. I did not want to just send it right back out for repairs or have any time away. So, come on, focus. So you can see it's right there on the side of that dot. So that's kind of how I use that. But yeah. So in conclusion, yeah, that's maybe something you may want to consider if you look into this. There's a possibility that this still might have this issue. If it is, well, that's how I dealt with it, and it's not that hard or bad to deal with it. At least I don't think so. But your experience might vary.